I'm on a mission to become better at YouTube, but there's one problem. I'm not very good at making videos yet. So this is my attempt, day by day, to get a little better at making videos so that I can defeat the YouTube algorithm. And today, I actually had a very in-depth conversation with somebody, specifically about business. Now I know, snooze fest, you're already like hovering over that back button to go to the next video. Trust me, I think there might be some value here for all of you, if you wish to stay around and try to find it. Today I was sitting down with someone and they were basically questioning me about why does nothing seem to go my way? It doesn't matter what they did. It didn't matter what they went through or what they decided to put out for their business. It just wasn't working. And I was wondering, let me know in the comments if any of you have had similar experiences where you are going after this new thing and you're really charging at it as hard as you can and just, it seems like the ball keeps falling out of your hand and you just can't catch it correctly. Well, my friend also had a very similar problem. We sat down and talked about it. They kept going through the same motion, doing the same thing, and putting all of their all into their business, doing everything they possibly could to potentially keep up with their role on their business. And it just seemed like it bumped up for a little bit. But then after a while, it started to slow back down and get slower and slower and slower until the ball had basically lost all the momentum. And they're sitting there looking at their business being like, should I kick this back up? Could I even kick this back up? What would be the point if it's just going to fall flat again? And we had a pretty in-depth conversation. But this conversation quickly took a turn and focused more specifically on the person and how the person was having issues. And it always seemed like everything they did just didn't turn out. It just kind of fell flat, it hit the ground, and then nothing happened. They were excited about it, and then they weren't. And I think a lot of you have probably felt the same way about something at some point, because let's face it, everything that we touch isn't gonna be gold. Some of it's going to be, most of it's probably gonna be horseshit, to be completely honest. Most of it is. So, what do we do about that? Well, in this conversation where me and my friend were talking, we were trying to explore their business. Basically, we're talking about very specifics, and I was like, okay, well, you had a very clear audience at one point. Where did they go? Why did they stop responding to your stuff? And they said, I don't know. I've always been doing the same thing that I always did. It just worked, and then it didn't. And that was where the first alarm bells went off in my head. We as people, and I'm guilty of this myself, so don't think I'm throwing anyone under the bus. We do something great and we're like, oh shucks, I did it. This is always gonna work. I'm the best. I'm sure we've all felt that way. I've even had some small victories on YouTube where I actually posted a short that got 3,000 views. And for a moment there, I was like, this YouTube stuff is way too easy, guys. It's not easy. It's not. So, just because something worked once doesn't mean it's going to work 100 times. And it might have only accidentally worked once. We don't really know until we develop an understanding of how exactly things work in the ways, well, that they work. So until we have a complete, full understanding of our business, our life, the thing that we're trying to do, we can't really know why something worked. That shouldn't mean that you should go into a complete rabbit hole of studying, which I'm getting to in a minute, because I know some of us are doers and some of us are studying procrastinators, where we try to find out every little single thing we can about the thing that we're trying to do that we never actually get started. We become an expert even though we've never picked up the actual shovel, or we never started click play on the camera. So I'll get there, but it's really interesting. But just because something worked in the past doesn't mean it's always going to work. We have to slowly make changes. We have to meet our audience where they are. And if you keep making the same content, you're kind of accepting the fact, or if you keep marketing the same way, you're kind of accepting the fact that the people that you're marketing to aren't changing. And let me tell you something that's very easy about human nature that all of you already know. I'm not teaching you anything. People are constantly changing. Even the person that you're looking back and being like, wow, that person, since I last saw them, hasn't changed at all. They have. They've changed a little bit. It just might not be in a way that you see at this moment. But everyone is constantly changing, and that is human nature. So if you're approaching people the same way that you always have, eventually they're going to grow out of it. And you're going to be the one left holding the bag. You're going to be the one that's selling something that no one's buying because everyone's grown past it. How can you meet them where they are now? Not where they were, not where they're going to be, but where they are now. Because a good idea quickly becomes a bad idea if it's done too soon. If it's done too early, it's just not a good idea. Unfortunately, someone eventually at one point had the idea of flying cars. Well, we still don't have flying cars. It's a bad idea. It just isn't working. It's not a good business model until it's created. Then selling this flying car is a good business model. I know I'm kind of butchering it. It doesn't fully make sense in that specific example, but I think you understand what I'm trying to get across. And if so far you're really resonating with anything that I'm saying here, or you're struggling with things that you're not quite sure where to go with, subscribe. I want to try to make some content that's helpful for people in understanding why am I not moving forward. Because although I may not have a lot of success on YouTube yet, and I believe it's coming, I do have success in other areas of my life. And these are some pretty quick tips that I've learned along the way. The next one is, if you aren't living and breathing whatever it is that you're doing, someone is, and they're going to do it better. And I'm going to give you a great example here. Let's talk about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast lives and breathes YouTube. Anytime you see a video of him talking that's not one of his videos, he's talking about YouTube. He's talking about how to get into the YouTube algorithm. He's talking about how much hard work it takes to be a YouTuber. He's talking about how much money there is that you could potentially make from ads in YouTube and how he got his first ad in YouTube. And when he's on the camera, he's focusing every point of his being into that thing that he wants to do. You're not gonna blow up if your foot is half in the water and your other foot is standing in the hard ground. And I'm saying that to myself and everyone else who's watching this. I know it's a balance. We have to go to work. We have school. We've got family. We've got people we have to work for and work with. But there's somebody somewhere that's going 120% right now for whatever it is that you want to be good at. And you're not competing with everyone, but you are competing with someone. At any moment, just because of the country that we live in and the society, the way that society is built up, people want the best. And they want the best for the cheapest, but people want the best. And if they can get that somewhere else for anywhere close to what you're selling for less cost, they're going to do it. And people are even willing to take a cut in quality to get something at a cheaper cost. It's a constant battle that we have to weigh with ourselves. How can I meet my customer, or how can I meet the person that I want to come in contact with in the place that they're at? And how can I live and breathe what I want without letting the rest of my life crash down? Because not all of us can take the next year of our lives and spend every second pushing out our passion as much as we can. I mean, heck, I work a job. As soon as I get home, I come here, I get on this camera, and I do my best to make a video just to improve the speaking aspect of my videos. There are thousands of pieces of my videos that I'm specifically ignoring right now, just because I know I have a limited energy to come at YouTube. So I'm going to put everything I have into getting better at this aspect. And then once I have this aspect okay, I'm going to put everything I have into getting better at that next aspect. We have to keep marching. And don't burn yourself out. Be careful, but there's someone who is standing at the batter's plate and taking swings all day long. They're in the batter's box, hitting as many baseballs as they can. And if you're watching The Office for the umph time in a row, great show. Honestly, if you haven't watched it, please do. Great show, but there's someone who's taken swings as you're watching The Office. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I would like to talk about this topic again. If you want me to, let me know in the comments, because I think this could be an interesting topic about the different manners of success and how to pull it into your life that I've learned in my lifetime, opening businesses, selling businesses, and everything else that I've done. Really, I've been all over the world. If you like this content and you'd like to see more, go ahead and hit the subscribe, because I think that we could work together to help each other. And second, I've got some videos right here that you're welcome to check out that are going to be perfectly suited for you. But as I said, I'm slowly getting better day by day, so they're going to get better as well. I'm sorry if they're not as good as this one, but also I'm not, because that means this is better. Anyway, thank you for coming, and keep being you.